Welcome to the Best We Could Be podcast, the space for thought-provoking, fun, and inspiring conversations through millennial voices. I'm your co-host, Aliora.
And I'm your co-host, Danielle. We're sharing and learning about what helps us grow in clarity, skills, and relationships.
We're finding our way to live the best life we can.
And we want you to join us on the journey. So let's get started.
Well, we're going to sing you a little, what do they call it?
Chorus. Was it chorus?
Whatever the theme song. There you go. That's what they call it. The theme song from a very, very popular 90s TV show. I mean, even if you weren't born in the 90s, you should know about it. There's a good amount of people who became well-known stars in the years afterward who came from that show. So here's how it goes. This is all that. This is all that. This is all that. This is all that. All right.
Hey.
Okay. And you should listen to the whole theme song because it has a whole rap lyrics by the one and only Left Eye from TLC. So it was top tier content. So you're welcome.
Gen Z, you don't know nothing about that.
We're so sorry for you, but it's okay. Okay. So going into starting off our episode from there, we want to talk about the origin of what the world calls millennials, us millennial generation.
Yes, the best generation, may I say. And just reflecting over the 90s era, which is the era that majority of millennials grew up in, and may I say, the best era.
Listen, if y'all got any problems, y'all just come for Danny, okay? I support her all the way. It is what it is. Okay. Yes. So we're going to define, what does the term millennial actually mean? Like, what is it? What are the parameters of what makes a millennial a millennial?
So according to Live Science, which means it's scientific, which means it's a fact, who are the millennials? From an article in November 2021, it says that the term millennials generally refers to the generation of people born between the early 1980s and 1990s. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, some people also include children born in the early 2000s, which is debatable because my youngest sister was born in the year 2000, and people have claimed that she's on the cusp of being a millennial or a Gen Zer. But I guess that's up for that said person, whatever generation they want to claim.
I've commonly seen the cutoff happen at 1996. I have also seen 1995, but I feel like I've seen 1996 more. So, which makes sense because the last 3 years, you hardly remember anything, if anything at all, so, you were born in the 90s and whatnot, but I don't know if you'd be considered a 90s baby after 96. So I'm just saying, you can ask the experts who set these defining years.
Well, whether you're in the millennial group or not, we're pretty awesome. I would say we're pretty hardworking. Given the year 2022 that we're in, we all know that we just went through a incredibly unpredictable, terrible pandemic that has affected us individually in different ways. But I know when millennials first graduated, not first graduated, but when we all started graduating college, there was a lot of negative talk about what millennials wanted in the marketplace, in the job market. And I believe from older generations, there's a lot of talk of us being lazy and narcissistic and not wanting to work. And I'm not saying that there are some millennials out there that probably are lazy and don't want to work, but that millennial is not us. We definitely love to work. We love to make money. But we just like to work at a job that we love doing. We don't want to just work, to make a paycheck, which obviously most people in America are doing. They're working at jobs that they don't love, which is, unfortunate. And I've also worked jobs myself that I did not love. But if an opportunity is presented to me or to you, I definitely would encourage you to, make the best of that opportunity and definitely seek out resources to make it, the best opportunity for you. And if you feel like your environment or your employer is not really supporting you, definitely, speak up and, feel empowered to know that you deserve what you want and what you feel comfortable with.
Yes, I agree. I definitely think that our generation has been very vocal in a way that's really shifted, like done a widespread shift of questioning just certain things about going along with the status quo of the workforce. Not saying that no one past generations has done it, but I think we have brought it more to the forefront of conversations about wanting to do meaningful work, like not just wanting to have a job that makes money, but a job that we really feel is aligned with our personal values, that we feel is aligned with who we are as a person, that really seems like it's changing the world for the better. And I think we're just, so many of us are having a hard time just going along with it. Feels so empty to stay with a job where, okay, the money and the benefits are good, but this really does not feel aligned with who I am as a person. It doesn't feel like it's, an expression of the things that, and all this may sound like hippy dippy, but these are things that every human being desires. Like, we all desire to experience something in life that really feels like us, and work takes up so much of our life. We spend a lot of our day to day, most of our day with it. So it's hard to not get to a point where you feel like, if this line of work does not feel like me, it may make great money, and I gotta make money, but I can't stay with this. I gotta, be switching and swerving to find what works for me until it feels right. So yeah, I definitely agree that we are a hardworking generation. We're just more vocal and more willing to leave jobs and take the harder routes sometimes if it's not what we want to do.
Right, exactly. I think that our parents' generation and maybe the generation before them, their main goal was just to put food on the table, which is a very honorable goal. And obviously, I'm very grateful for what my parents have done for me and the sacrifices they've made, because I definitely would not have been able to take the opportunities I've been given without their support.
Yes.
So thank you, Mom and Dad. Appreciate
it.
We
love you. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom and Dad. Dads.
Right. And dads too. I'm just saying. They matter too.
We see you. But I think that our generation was the first one to speak up. Like, nah, we actually value our me time. We value family time. We value self time. We value time with our friends. We don't like the mold that was set before us, that we have to work, till we're 80 plus years old and then we get to retire. Like, no, if we're required to do that, we'd rather be doing something that we love, or make our own businesses and create a entrepreneurship journey to where we're able to retire earlier. And hopefully, if you're that type of person, give back to the community or give back to those in your family, to be able to feel more fulfilled. Really, I think is the ultimate goal of millennials overall.
And I think that's why the term millennial is a good fit to describe our generation. Before, the term originally that was floating around seemed to be Generation Y, because the generation before us was or is Generation X. But our coming of age really came about with the new millennium. And I remember talks about that leading up to 2000, the things that people were expecting, the power outage that was going to happen, the millennium, it was not like that. It was 1999. And then the next day it was the year 2000 and things were fine. No power outages, at least, not that I experienced or really heard of. But, with that term, a new millennium means, it's associated with the idea of a new shift, a new era. And I definitely think that our generation has brought that about in our own way in society, a great shift in how people are pursuing building a life for themselves when it comes to work, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to our personal development, our health. We've really been a generation that has shaken and is continuing to shake things up and making more room for the generations after us to make even more strides in changing things that need to be changed.
Preaching to the choir here. I prefer Millennials, honestly. It just sounds cooler.
Yeah, I think so too.
Speaking of cooler and being the new thing, there was also another comment from the older generation from an article from The Atlantic, just discussing some of the reasons that might have catered to the negative comments about millennials. One of those comments being, what was it, Aliora, that they said it was?
In talking about like what certain generations see like different with us compared to them.
Yes.
I think Inc. I think at the end of that article.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding.
So at the end of this article, there was basically this article is, I think it's called Why Older Generations Hate Millennials. It's 2018 and people still hate millennials. Here are 4 reasons why. And this is from Inc. So they break down 4 reasons. So one of them being the difference between us and older generations when it comes to our purpose, our boldness, the fire that we have in us to pursue what we want, and when it comes to relationships, like how we go about relationships, the condition of our relationships compared to older generations, from being more connected with people to being more isolated, it seems like, for certain people of older generations as they get older, or as they age further. And so at the end of this article, it says what it boils down to is that many millennials, the ones that many hate, believe that the best thing, believes that the best thing that has ever happened to them hasn't happened yet. For older generations, many believe that their best days are behind them, and this is why so many hate millennials. So
it's not our fault though. Like,
no.
We didn't ask to be here. Y'all put us here.
We were born and now we all have to go through this on this planet together. But yeah, I think that's something with people in general as they get older, no matter what generation, but I think we especially see that in the difference between millennials and those who are, Generation X, or, as people call the baby boomers, before us, is I do think there's more of a mindset amongst millennials that, we don't feel yet, from what I see, that our best days are behind us. We're very forward thinking, and I think that we feel very inspired to be innovative. We could still, because our age range as millennials is from 26 right now to 41. So, the older generations of us, I'm curious, what y'all may have to say if you feel yourself kind of falling into that trap as you get older, of your best days being behind you instead of there being new ones ahead to create. So I think just, age and in general, the negative stereotypes that could come with that can make people feel that way. But I do think amongst us as millennials in general, I do think we're very connected to the idea of there are more things for us to do. We haven't reached our peak yet. There's so much change to bring about in the world around us and our personal lives. There's so many things that we're open to learning how to do. I feel like that the idea of being free, creating a lifestyle where we feel free and aligned, is something that's widespread throughout our generation. So, and that when you have that type of mindset, your demeanor is going to exude more joy. It's going to exude more optimism. It's going to exude more open-mindedness. It's going to exude more adaptability. And yeah, those are the things that, those are the different ingredients that make a person who's not gonna be as likely to go along with the status quo or become complacent with, you know, how things are, because you just believe differently. So I do think that that's something that does define us as millennials, that older generations could take hold of too. It's just they have to break the mold of the things that have shaped them.
Right, exactly. I think what I praise about our generation, not that we're perfect in any way. No generation is perfect. But I think we all can learn something from each other. We can learn something from our parents' generation, and our parents' generation can learn something from the one before them. But I think as long as we're also empowering each other in some way and not being jealous or not being in a negative and comparative state of mind, that we can take, you know, the good pieces of our generation to move forward to the next one. But I think that our generation was named correctly, because millennial means something new, something innovative, something moving forward, something progressing. So I think in order for us to continue, you know, our generation, continue thinking of new ways to develop ourselves as human beings, we have to expand our mindset. And mindset is a huge thing when you're pursuing anything in life. I'm learning that myself, you know, personally and career-wise, of how much your mindset affects everything that you say and do. But yeah, I mean, we understand the hate, but, you know, like I said, I can't help you with that.
Nothing we can do.
But going back to the 90s era, I know a big part of anyone's childhood, I mean, anyone's, you know, generation is their childhood. And the 90s, I must say, probably had like the best, you know, experiences for childhood. We just had the best toys, the best games. And I would not, as a young adult woman right now, consider myself a reader. But when I was growing up, probably in like grade school, I used to love these books called Junie B. Jones books. And I don't know if anyone out there is familiar with Junie B. Jones, but it is a book by Barbara Park and illustrated by Dennis Brunkus. And it was published by Random House from 92 to 2013. I did not read all the way up to 2013, obviously, but in the early 90s, it was my go-to book. The story centers on an almost 6-year-old girl named Junie B. Jones and her adventures in kindergarten and first grade. And I just remember like reading all the box sets, reading all the different stories. And I think they also came out with like a diary one time, so it made it more interactive for me as a kid to start writing out my random thoughts in a diary. And even when I was a little bit older, like maybe in high school or even like freshman year of college, I would go back and open those old diary notes and see what I said back then. Which made me chuckle because I had concerns about like, you know, maybe something that annoyed me that day that was very like trivial, or like writing out what I'm going to wear the next day, or writing out something that I want, like a new toy or whatever the new thing was, or the new NSYNC CD, whatever that was. Just writing like little things in the diary as a kid is always fun for me to look back on.
Yes. I love the Junie B. Jones book series too. I don't remember how far I got with it. So did you say it went to when she was in middle school, or was it just all elementary school? Because I feel like I've read a book like where she was older than that elementary school age, or maybe it was like at the end of elementary school. But they're such good books, and you know, I really related to them because Junie B. Jones, she there was a point where she got, I think it was a little sister. I don't remember if it was a little sister or a little brother, but a younger sibling. And I remember relating to that because, you know, I had my younger sisters. I'm 6 years older than them. And even things like, you know, her like waiting, you know, for the school bus, or I think like times where like her mom had to pick her up. Like there were different aspects of her. And I'm also in elementary school that I found relatable. So I definitely think that was a very impactful book series for kids. So the author, she really did a great job writing from a child's perspective.
Yes, thank you, Barbara Park, for making that wonderful book. And it's probably the last book, actually, that I read, to be honest, because I think I probably wasn't, I was in school, but, you know, grade school is, you know, fun. You're not really having to use your brain that much. So I had more space. And then, you know, early 90s or mid 90s. So we didn't have technology like we do today. Mm-hmm. No social media, no smartphones. I did not have a cell phone of any type, I don't think, till I was 13. So I didn't have any type of technology to use to distract myself. So when I got home after school, all I did was read or probably terrorize my little sisters. Mm-hmm. So, thank you, Barbara Park, for making such a wonderful book series. And if it's still out there, God willing, when I have kids, then I will definitely let them read it too.
Yes. And Junie B. Jones, I think, you know, it originated in the 90s. Whereas like other book series that I can remember, I think they may have been like from earlier times, but they were popular, at least from what I remember, during our childhood years too, like Arthur, which was also a TV series as well as books. I think the TV show may have started in the 90s. And then there was also the Bernstein Bears, or some people may say the Bernstein Bears.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
What was another one? Another book series?
Oh, well, yeah, I think this was a book series. Corduroy?
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, the bear. Yes, and he was called that because he had on the corduroy pants, as they called them. Oh my gosh!
Mm-hmm. And I had a corduroy doll. Well, is it a doll? No,
bear.
Bear. Stuffed bear. Whatever. Build a bear. Stuffed bear.
Yeah. And and Clifford, the big red dog.
Clifford was a big one.
Yes, I don't remember which came first, the book, or because I know there were books, or the TV show. But yeah, those are things that I remember like really enjoying. And like Danielle said, we didn't have the technology that kids have grown up with coming up. I think, you know, I think the generation after us, so Gen Z, I think they're the first generation that really grew up immersed in technology, particularly like our personal technology devices, like the phones and the tablets and the laptops. Yes. Where our generation, we were, well, depending also on where you were born, within the millennial spectrum within our generation, many of us have memories of life prior to these personal devices, like being like, I remember growing up with a house, like a landline phone, right? Like the house phone that has the cord.
Oh yeah, you could drag the cord with you through the rooms.
Right. And like actually like the spiral cords on the phone, like we didn't have, like if I wanted to call a friend, I couldn't call them on their personal cell phone. You got to call the house. You got to dial the number to call the house.
I know it's confusing, Gen Z. Just stick with us.
Yes. Okay. What else? Like, of course, we weren't having touchscreen stuff.
By the way, shout out to the flip phones. Yes. We really miss flip phones. Like, I wish I could go back to a flip phone.
Flip phones, like, they just gave you an ability to, like, be more expressive. Like, if you want to hang up on a phone call on a flip, you do that little clack, and and the phone call is done. Okay, it wasn't just you just press the button. I didn't feel good enough to press the button. You're done with the conversation. Well, I need to bring. I actually have well, this wasn't from the 90s. It's a more modern, no longer in our times, but type of flip phone, a razor phone. I think that's the last flip phone I ever had. But yeah, and I remember my first cell phone was in middle school, and it was obviously we know we're getting out of the 90s, but just to think, like, even then, like, it was not the type of technology that you see with phones today. Nothing like you couldn't watch no movies and TV shows. None of that.
None of that. Very direct, like phone. That's it. You're calling someone, texting. Right. The coolest thing probably back then for a flip phone was texting. Honestly,
right? Yes.
And like clicking the buttons,
right?
Like when you're texting, especially in class, you know, people have their phones like underneath their desks, trying to act like they're looking at a book when they're looking at their phone. Right. But yeah, I remember all of that. But my flip phone was actually stolen in high school. I remember. I think it was maybe it was one of my classes. I had a stolen phone too. Yep, and someone went into my purse and took my flip phone.
Haters, all of you.
Yep.
I do remember, this was not anything like the laptops we have today, but I remember having a VTech laptop. So that's as far like as technology, you know, as it went that I can remember that was really prominent in my life. But look up VTech laptops. They had like all sorts of like versions of it. I don't even know if it started in the 90s, but I know it's something that I had in the 90s, and it was I think it was a popular, toy or like, you know, child computer that people had. So it was like preloaded, as I mentioned, with different games to help you learn. And the graphics on there, okay, this is the night. Nothing. First of all, the things weren't even in color. Okay, that sounds so old, right? Because when people talk about TV when it was just black and white, no color. Yeah, on these laptops, they just had the graphics like enough of like the outline for you to know whatever character it was, but it wasn't all this high tech, you know, color stuff on there.
I don't really remember those that well, but now that you have the pictures up, which we'll show you if you watch our secret video they might release later, I'm not sure. But it looks like a fake laptop.
Yeah, basically.
It looks like something that Fisher Price made for kids. But
very much so.
My gosh, thank God that we've advanced from that.
Yes.
But what were some other hobbies you did? Aliora?
Yes, in elementary school, band was a big thing for me. I started band. It may have been the 4th grade. It could have also been the 3rd grade. I feel like it was the 4th grade. And I remember I wanted to play the saxophone.
Ooh.
I didn't watch The Simpsons like that, but you know, I knew of the cartoon, and I knew Lisa, the daughter, the girl, she played the saxophone, and I loved the music that she played on her saxophone. I thought it was so cool. My mother, wanted me to play the flute. Ooh. Because she felt it was more girly. Like, that's what she envisioned, okay? I was not thinking anything. I don't want to play the flute. I want to play the saxophone, okay? All the girls wanted to play the flute. Because everybody, like, it's like, oh, the flute, you know. And, hey, no, the flute is great. You know, that's an awesome instrument. Lizzo, you know, has brought much appreciation in our times to the flute.
Yes, thank you, Lizzo.
Right. So by the time I was going to choose my instrument, right, because it was like first come, first serve with certain things, basically all the flutes were taken because it was such high demand. And then the next thing that they had available was the clarinet. Now, mind you, at first I was like, clarinet? I didn't know about this instrument. I was like, the clarinet? Like, okay. And I really came to enjoy it. And it's funny because the clarinet is in the family, like the instrument family of the saxophone. You actually have, I forgot about this till my one of my sisters reminded me of it. There are different styles of saxophone. I think the common one we see is like the bigger one that looks like the J shape with a big, you know, tube at the end. But you have straight saxophones that kind of look, their resemblance kind of looks like a clarinet. And even the sound is not too far off. So yeah, I did that from elementary school, even all the way up to middle school. And another activity I was involved with, not for very long, I can't remember how long, it was Pep Squad.
Oh, fancy.
Yes. Pep Squad was our elementary school cheerleading squad.
Do you remember any of your cheers?
I do not. I just remember that our colors were red and white because that was our school colors, and we actually had a little pom-poms in our uniforms.
Okay, bring it on.
Right. Okay. And the most memorable thing I could think of from that time is us being a part of a local parade. I don't think it was just in regards to our school. It could have been like around a holiday time or something. And basically there was a parade, that would go around. It was something that they did every year, to go around whatever marked off points that they did. And our pep squad, your parents like wait until, your part of the parade comes up to see, the little girls in their uniforms and pom-poms. I do remember that. So that was a cool experience too, that I remember. Mm-hmm.
Well, I was not cheering per se, because cheerleaders just did not do it for me in high school. No shade against them. I just was not a cheerleader. Mm-hmm. But I was gravitated towards dance. My mom put me in my very first dance class when I was about 4, I believe. I only know that because I have a childhood picture of me in a Minnie Mouse dance costume with tap shoes on. Mm-hmm. And then I took a break, and then we picked it up again when I was age 7. And that took me about 8 years in dance till about age 14 or 15. But it was one of the best years of my life, the most memorable parts of my childhood. I did tap, dance, ballet. At the time, they called it pop, which was, I guess, like another form of jazz. Mm-hmm. But I just remember having the best of times, just rehearsing with my dance friends, and even at recitals, like rushing in between the curtains to get ready for the next number. Mm-hmm. It was just some of the best memories from my childhood, from like, elementary school up through maybe like towards the end of freshman year in high school. Mm-hmm. Which is, I'll post some pictures for the video later, but it was probably the most memorable. I have some recording tapes as well from the recitals that I go back and watch, because mm-hmm. it's just so weird to see yourself and, look smaller and just not have any wisdom whatsoever of what you've been through up until this point. And then just going back and having that nice nostalgic moment mm-hmm. is always, very cool to see, and just reflect and have a nice positive moment for yourself. Yeah. But going into our other experiences over the 90s and just highlighting the cool things of the 90s were the 90s toys and video games. Yes. And I know everyone, or, most of everyone, millennials especially, know about the Cabbage Patch Kids. Yeah. I definitely had a Cabbage Patch Kid, and I remember, I think there was controversy around it because kids would put their fingers in the Cabbage Patch Kids or something like that. Oh, no. So it was a little hazardous. But I remember, feeding the little plastic food in the mouth and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Very weird doll when you look back on it. Yeah.
But as a kid, you thought it was cool because you could do stuff that made it seem like it was a real baby.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. Teaching us how to have a baby.
Right.
Well, not how, but what I'm talking about. So we found this article by BuzzFeed that they made in 2018. It's called 55 Iconic Toys Every 90s Kid Wanted for Their Birthday. So we just randomly came across it and looking at it live of toys that we completely forgot about.
Yes. So much. So many.
Like the Light Bright. I don't know if you guys remember the Light Bright, but it was definitely one of my go-to toys growing up, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And what did they also talk about? Game Boy. Yeah, that was I had a Game Boy. I wasn't into it like that from what I can remember, but I do remember it. Gigapets. I don't know. I feel like I had more than one of those. And basically Gigapets is like it's this small handheld, normally I would see it like a circular device. I think that's normally the shape it was. And basically you had a pet, on that device, digital pet, right? Gigapet, that you had to, do certain things like you would do with a real pet, like feed it. And I remember the feeding part. I guess also going to sleep, mm-hmm. To keep it, alive and well. And your Gigapet could die. Okay.
Oh yeah, I do remember that, which was kind of creepy.
Yes.
And sad. But doesn't it come back to life? Well, not come back to life, but doesn't it do we get a new pet or something? I forgot how it works.
I forgot what happens. Like if you didn't take care of it and it died. I forgot what would happen. But I don't know if they have that on the list, but it also reminds me of, oh man, the dogs, like the robotic dogs.
Oh,
I have to look that up. I can't remember what it's called. I had one of those too. Now that felt pretty cool. That felt like, oh my gosh, it's like a robot, but it's a dog, and it can move on its own. If I can remember, I'll mention it. But that was another. It felt so advanced, at that time.
Oh yeah, and you have to remember the game Bop It. Yes. I think that game is still around to this day. You might see it pop up at a game night somewhere.
Yes.
But Bop It, Twist It, Pull It, Love It was the game.
Yes.
And any birthday party, or if you're home by yourself and bored, that was the go-to game.
Yeah, if I had a Bop It, see, it's so funny because, you don't appreciate these things. As far as, like, as you get older, you grow out of them. Like, okay, that's in the past. But a Bop It, if I had a Bop It today, I would save that. I would save that for generations to come. That was a pretty cool toy.
Another toy we're seeing on this list is Furby.
Yes.
It says, your first pet you eventually taught how to swear.
Yes, and Furbies kind of look like, if you remember the movie, I think it was called The Gremlins.
Yes.
Okay. So there was...
creepy looking things.
Yes. There was... I don't know what I call, like, rumors or, like, because it looks similar to those creatures in that movie. Because The Gremlins, I think it was, if you got them wet, they would turn into the monstrous creatures that they were.
Someone will have to check us because I'm not sure.
Yeah, fact check us, please. I think that's what it was because I'm relating that to Furbies because they look similar. Like, people be like, don't get your Furby wet because it'll turn into a gremlin.
Oh, are these the robot dogs on the list? Poochie?
Yes, Poochie. Yes, Poochie. So POO -CHI. Yes. I think I had the blue one. Look up Poochie. That's another toy that I would keep. Because it was cool. It was so cool back then. Like, that wasn't something, it was something very different for the time. So let me see if I'm about to fact check myself on this whole gremlin thing. Let me see what happens. Let's find this out together. Okay. It's back on. Okay. I see the sound going.
So we're back. We had some technical difficulties, but that's why we're doing a test episode.
Yes, to make sure all this goes right. So, I was talking about Gremlins, and apparently that's a movie from. I guess it comes from Tales before the movie came out, but apparently it's a movie from the 80s. But I certainly remember it in the 90s, and they were whatever types of creatures, and something about like if they got wet, it would, transform them into like this bad way. So that's what people, I would hear things about that related to Furby. So that was another toy. And Furbies were a pretty big deal. Like I think those were one of the toys, like McDonald's. Oh my goodness. McDonald's back in the day used to be a big deal with the toys.
Oh yeah.
In the kids' meals.
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Like if they released, like if they were giving out a series of toys, like as a kid, you wanted to be getting McDonald's so you could collect the series of toys that they were giving out. So I don't know about today. I don't hear it anymore that McDonald's gives out toys, but McDonald's, listen, that was a good strategy to get customers. Cause us kids, we were like, take us to McDonald's.
Oh yeah. Okay. McDonald's was all the rage growing up.
My Little Pony. Oh, I think that was another series of toys that they did.
My Little Pony.
That wasn't a joke. Okay, you wanted all the My Little Ponies. If you were into it, you wanted it. Mm-hmm. So yes, I remember that too.
Those commercials came for us, man.
Yeah,
like, they really like. You want this toy. You want this toy.
Okay, that they really did get us as kids. I'm telling you.
Yes, we just came upon an item on the list, Etch-a-Sketch. Yes. Which it says it was basically your first computer.
Very primitive. If you look up, if you don't know what Etch-a-Sketch is, and you look at everything, I'm like, what? But you can see the correlation. You can see, how it could connect to the idea of a computer somehow. Yes.
But this is basically your first attempt at being an artist in drawings with two knobs, which would create some type of image that you could sketch. But I remember messing with this. Like, I think every 90s kid had this. They had to have it in their toy box.
Yes. Like, if you were, like, real creative, like, the real creative people could, like, make these detailed, for that type of toy drawings with those two little knobs that I don't even know how it worked on the back end that would, whatever they had, and that would create a picture. So yeah.
Oh, guys, I probably came upon the best item on the list: the Easy Bake Oven.
Okay.
It says if your parents bought this for you, then you could learn real life skills.
Right.
I remember this Easy Bake Oven. There's a lot more food in this picture.
Right. You remember making?
I think they just gave us a brownie, and I just remember making brownies, honestly. I don't remember anything else. Mm-hmm. But that was like the best thing ever. Like getting all the ingredients, mixing it up, getting the little tools, and putting it through the oven, and just waiting for it to come out. It was probably the best thing ever.
Yes.
I still had to learn how to cook, though. Still learning how to cook in some ways. But yeah, that was probably one of the best toys ever of the 90s.
Yes. Definitely remember Easy Bake.
And moving on to the next thing within the 90s era, it's definitely the 90s fashion.
Yes.
Today, with our test episode, with it talking about the 90s, we tried to wear 90s inspired clothing that you can see on the video on YouTube. But Aliora is wearing what I would describe as a very cool, modern
windbreaker. I think they used to call these type of jackets. The material.
It's really it's white and navy blue stripes with different color
kind of stripes.
Yeah, stripes.
The style and the color is very reminiscent of the 90s. So it's either my mom or my sister's jacket. This may be my sister's. So if she sees, I guess she won't see this since it's a test. So oh well. Yes.
Then I brought a pair of overalls because I can't fit these, but on camera you can see the overalls that we probably all wore. Yeah. At some point or another.
Yes, I had overalls, like the overall shorts. I had overall dress. I don't know what it was about that style, but overalls were a very in thing.
Yes, and I'm also wearing a turtleneck because I know that was a big deal as well. Turtlenecks, especially in the fall and winter. Yep. I'm wearing a very modern, like pretty emerald green turtleneck right now, but back in the day, most turtlenecks were multicolor or bright yellow. You know, the 90s was all about the colors. Man. Yeah. Yep. All about being seen with the colors.
Because, when you look at each decade, the start of it, carries over some things from the previous decade. And I definitely think the color influence was from the 80s. And people really held on to that. I'm not mad at it. I think the colors were great. And then over time, there came to be a shift in certain ways away from color. Some people, it was just a little too... I guess like when the grunge look or whatever they call it, that was a thing that was coming in, but the colors were awesome.
Speaking of grunge, that was definitely a style, I guess, that they're saying was more of the rebels of 90s rock, like Nirvana and Pearl Jam. Essential items to make the grunge look was like band t-shirts, grungy flannel, acid wash or ripped jeans, and anything with studs. Yeah. I know there was a lot of people in my high school that wore studs like all the time, like, almost every day.
Yep. I remember that style.
And what's another 90s trend that you can think of?
From our childhood, the jelly shoes. Those were.
Yeah, I remember those.
Those were such a big deal. They were so cute, and I don't know who came up with it, but we loved that as kids. Accessory wise, the bubbles, the bubbles that we put. I don't know. I mean, I definitely know as Black girls, like we, had those for our hair. I don't know as much. I can't remember that like with like non afro like hair children like ourselves, but I definitely remember that like your clips, having beads in your hair.
Oh yeah, the beads.
Yes, that like I remember one time I told my mom I wanted her to, and she did it like the hairstyle where I had a head full of beads, and you just felt like so pretty, like just flashing around your beads. What other styles? I'm trying to like I guess I was gonna say plaid, but I guess like flannel, you know, that was a big thing. Like, and the boots, yeah, those, I guess the combat boots. That's the style that they're called. And also, like the military print or like the army style print was something that I remember being quite popular. Bucket hats,
yes, bucket hats are coming back for sure.
Those were definitely the trend. And what else?
Cargo pants.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Cargo pants with great pockets.
Yes. Everyone had cargo pants.
With fantastic pockets. Like, it just is what it is. Track suits were big. And track suits, that even, like, went into the early 2000s. Yeah. If you had a good tracksuit outfit, you felt pretty put together. Okay.
Let's get to the high waist mom jeans.
Ah, yes.
Which are definitely making a comeback. Because I love mom jeans.
Yeah. They're comfy.
Yes.
And if you know how to style them well, they can look great. I mean, just with a lot of different types of clothing. If you have a good eye for fashion, you too can make mom jeans look awesome on you.
No hate on the mom jeans.
Right?
At all.
It's so best that they call them mom jeans. Like, these are definitely the types of jeans for moms.
Oh, yeah. Velvet. Anything velvet. Whether it was a purse, dress, coat, suit. That was the thing.
Yes. And I also remember, oh gosh, I don't know what you call these styles of dresses. I don't know if they were from the Japanese culture, but I remember in elementary school, like it being a popular thing. Actually, speaking of velvet, I remember a blue velvet dress that I had that I really liked. I was just remembering that. But also this style of dress, I feel like it's from the Japanese culture. And, you know, it's kind of fitted and it has like the high collar and it kind of crosses in the front. If somebody, you know, remembers, if we ever show this, please name the style. I can't remember, but I remember in elementary school, that was a popular outfit that I started to see, like that the girls whose parents could get it for them that they wanted.
But I see that Aliora has made notes for a plethora
I know.
90s music that we could not move forward without mentioning.
Yes.
And I see Maya and Blackstreet. Take Me There, Rugrats movie soundtrack.
Yes. The Macarena.
Oh,
that song was. I remember in elementary school. I don't know why they did this. I don't know. It was more than once. Basically, like it was either at the end of our lunch period or maybe in the middle. They would play the Macarena. And all the kids, we would get up. We were so excited about it. You just go, how do you go like, okay, do the song like hey, Macarena, like that. If you don't know the song, it's a fun song. You should look it up. And that was by forgive me for the pronunciation, Los del Rio. Okay, I believe that was the name of the group. And yes, as Danielle mentioned, Maya and Blackstreet, the Take Me There song, that was from the Rugrats movie, and the Rugrats were a big deal.
Yes, a very big deal.
Yes, and for them to get a movie, that was like
everything.
Yes, as a kid. So love that song.
Of course, Spice Girls. We have to mention Spice Girls.
Yes.
Like, knew the whole, soundtrack, the whole CD.
Yes.
That's a song that every girl will sing. Mm-hmm. If you're in a group of girls and the song comes on, you can't help but sing it together.
Yes. And they also did a movie, Spice World. I don't know if they still claim that, but you love the movie.
Yes,
I've watched it.
I love it too.
Yes, I've watched it several times.
And what else do we have? The Boy Is Mine.
Yes.
Brandy and Monica. Probably the best, I would say, the best female duo song ever to me to this day.
Yeah, especially because, there were talks at the time like there being a rift between them and for them to come together. And it was just it was a perfect song for them to do. And the music video is awesome as well.
And we cannot pass through the 90s music without, of course, mentioning the king of pop, Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Remember the Time.
Yes. And
which is that's the Egyptian music. Yep.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to mention that I This is the first song that my mom claims that I danced to when I was like a baby toddler. Because she was watching the music video and she said that's the first time she saw me get up and start moving my hips. How can you not move your hips to Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
He is a legend, a king. You know, he crosses over into every generation after he came onto the stage. So... yeah, Remember the Time is a classic one.
Yes, and the music video as well was very cool for its time. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. I mean, if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? And it also because it had a lot of guest stars, people you would recognize, you know, during that time. So very, very cool.
And now we're going to get into the meat of our episode.
Yes.
Which is 90s TV shows. So the top 5 shows that pop up in my brain that I watched was probably, honestly, it was mostly from, you know, the Disney Channel.
Yep.
Definitely That's So Raven, Lizzie McGuire, Even Stevens.
Yes.
What else was there? Phil of the Future wasn't one of my favorites, but I didn't mind watching it. And, you know, I know the whole, you know, Cosby's controversial, but the Cosby Show was definitely the show to watch. And what's another one that I can think of?
I'm pulling up this list right now. So I was a big Nickelodeon kid. There's so many TV shows. But so of course we mentioned all that. We mentioned Rugrats. Hey Arnold was a huge one. Let me just bring this over some more here. Because and actually so many of these I'd forgotten. Let's see. Clarissa Explains It All.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Love that show.
That reminds me of, was it Sabrina the Teenage Witch?
Yes, that's true. Yes, I think, is it the same actress? I forgot. Forgive me. I forgot. Clarissa Explains It All. Let's continue. And Kenan and Kel.
Oh, yeah.
Was a big one. And Kenan and Kel were also, at least the first time I saw both of them, was all that. You know, it's so funny to see them so young then. And of course, we know Kenan, you know, has been on SNL for a long time. And Kel has gone on to do other successful things as well. Doug. I love Doug. Doug was a great one. Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh my gosh. I was terrified of this show.
I don't know who made this for children. But
how dare you?
You're a monster. Okay. Mind you, I still watched it. But...
was that the one with that creepy looking dude? That skeleton looking dude?
No, that
was
Tales from the Crypt or something like that.
That one was creepy.
Yeah, that wasn't the kids show. Okay, I don't know who the heck came up with that, but I remember that. And this game show, I forgot about, Legends of the Hidden Temple.
I never saw that one.
You didn't? Oh my goodness. You should look it up later. So it was a whole game show with kids. They had to do these different obstacle course types things. And this is when Nickelodeon was I think they did that on this show, with the slime, the green slime, they were really that was their thing. If you failed a challenge or something like that, maybe something that happened to you, got a bucket of slime. And it was whatever they made it out of, some lime green, smooth looking fluid. Of course there was Cat Dog, the Wild Thornberries. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was a cool one.
Or SpongeBob. Oh, Rocket Power.
Yes.
That's a big one too.
Yeah, Rocket Power. And the cartoons of those times, for instance with Rocket Power and the Wild Thornberries, was As Told by Ginger from the 90s? Maybe not. I'm not see it on here. Well, I feel like these are kind of in the vein of As Told by Ginger. That was a great one too. But what? So Hey Arnold, I would say let's say, I think also Doug, maybe not as much Wild Thornberries, and then Rocket Power. They were cartoons, but I felt like they also dealt with mature topics.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For kids that were, very helpful and relatable, lessons that you could take away from in your real life.
Speaking of relatable, there definitely was a rise of diversity for Black 90s TV shows.
Yes. Yes.
Which thank goodness we don't see as much. That's just today. But as mentioned before, we had The Cosby Show, we had Different World, we had Living Single, we had That's So Raven, even though it's on Disney Channel, but still, That's So Raven.
I love to watch Martin as well. It was not made for children, however, I did watch it.
Moesha.
Yes.
Family Matters. What else was there? Sister.
Yes.
Yes. So many to come to my. Of course, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes, as well.
Just so many, and I remember also a controversial statement that recently Queen Latifah talked about, and from an interview in 2016, where the idea for the popular Friends show came from the Living Single show.
And, I never thought about that until I think that it came to be known through Queen Latifah. I think that's the first time I heard about the connection, the relation between them. And I never thought of, I've watched Living Single for a long time, so not quite yet. And I've seen Friends. I never got into Friends, and it wasn't even because this seems like a spinoff of or ripoff of Living Single. I just wasn't into the show like that. But of course, I know about Friends. Huge hit.
Yeah, we love Friends. No shade.
Yeah, no shade to Friends. But when Queen Latifah, brought it to light, actually our show came first. And as I guess they were gaining, traction or, in the early stages of what they were doing, along came Friends. And I'm like, oh my goodness, there is a similar setup, with the cast. And there was also a clip that I saw, I don't know if you saw this as well, Danny, where Queen Latifah, in the clip that I saw, she was talking about it, but somebody else edited in a part after her interview clip where they were showing a similar episode that they did. Now, mind you, not, that this episode idea is completely original, but, just the idea already that the show was something that was derived or very much inspired by Living Single, it makes you wonder, when it comes to this episode. There was one that they did where the guys, were playing cards, and, the ladies, wanted to join in, but the guys were like, no, this is a man's thing. Basically just assuming that y'all don't know how to play cards. And so the ladies decided to learn a thing or two and came back prepared to, play with the big boys. And and now they tell it, each TV show does their storyline with it differently, but very similar premise, and in the end, the ladies win the game that they play. And so it's just a sad thing because it does bring to light an issue during that time in the 90s where, yes, there was more diversity, but it was very hard for Black actors, actresses, and other, people of color to really shine in their greatness as much as their white counterparts were allowed to shine in the entertainment industry.
Yes, and obviously, as we're seeing the entertainment industry develop over the years, there has been more pull for diversity, and you definitely can't be showing a big budget movie anymore without having diversity, unless it's for a particular, purpose within the script.
Yeah.
But, given to social media, most people cannot get away with ignoring diversity like they used to back in the day.
Yeah. Yep.
But I just think it's interesting how a show like Friends pretty much copycatted the framework of Living Single. But I was not a fan of either show, to be honest with you. I've always heard about Friends because I grew up more so when Friends was on TV. And Living Single, at that point, I was probably just watching the playbacks or the replays growing up. But I know my mom loved Living Single.
Yes.
I remember her watching it all the time. And Friends, I just know it was pushed as more popular by the network for other reasons that we won't discuss. But I think that we are definitely moving in the right direction.
Yes.
When it comes to diversity, but Black cinema definitely was at the height of its prime in the 90s.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes. And just an honorable mention to Boy Meets World. We just got to put it out there before somebody comes for us. There's so many more. The list is long and forever, but just that one just came to mind.
Yes. Boys Meets World was the show. Yeah. For sure. Was that Feeney?
Yes, that was the one that had Feeney. Mr. Feeney. Yes.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for hanging with us so far.
Thank you
to close
so much.
us out, we're actually going to do a quick this or that questionnaire for 90s kids.
Yes.
And feel free to join us in this as well. I'll leave the link in the description below. Going back to another BuzzFeed article, 12 would you rather questions that'll make 90s kids say, oof, this is a tough choice. So the first question is, which movie would you rather get a sequel to? Space Jam or Hocus Pocus?
I say Space Jam, which they did do.
I forgot.
Yes, when Space Jam came out, that was such a big deal. Like now, we're it's to combine like a movie with cartoon characters and real people. Like we hadn't seen, that wasn't the first time that had been done, but for our generation, like we hadn't seen that before, and it wasn't like a common thing that was done. So that just seems so mind-blowing as a kid. Like, it was a huge, huge deal, Space Jam. And the soundtrack was very good, too.
Yeah, and they actually just made a sequel to Hocus Pocus this past year, too, on Disney+, which I do not own anymore for reasons that I will not say. But you just can't mess with the classic sometimes. Like, I had no interest in seeing the sequel to Space Jam either.
I didn't see it either.
You just, like, as 90s kids, we're just attached to the original. It's not the same magic. It's not the same feel anymore. Although I appreciate the original actresses coming back for the Hocus Pocus sequel, I just know that it's not going to be the same. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that it wasn't good. I don't know, but I just can't. But if I had to be forced to watch a sequel, I guess I would choose Hocus Pocus. Let's see what the results were for that one. If we'll pull up, we'll see. Yep. It was Hocus Pocus at 61% by those that have taken this quiz before.
Yes.
Which of these cartoon series would you rather binge watch? Tiny Toon, Hey Arnold, Rugrats, or Animaniacs. Animaniacs.
Yes. Now that's a tough choice for me between Hey Arnold and Rugrats. Oh man, I'm leaning towards the Rugrats. I'm not gonna lie. I really love Hey Arnold. But I feel like I'm leaning towards the Rugrats.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Rugrats too. Like, you just can't not go with that crew. Like Tommy and
Chucky,
Angelica and
Phil and Lil.
Like, you can't not go with that team.
And don't forget Susie.
Yes.
Okay.
Call out for Susie.
Right.
The only black character.
It is what it is.
And the results on that one. Oh, yep.
Yep.
Rugrats won at 35%. Okay. Which Nintendo system would you rather play? Super Nintendo or Nintendo 64?
I'm going to go with 64. That's the one I'm familiar with. My Super Mario. Okay. My Diddy Kong racing video game. Though I wasn't that into video games, but those video games, I was into those. Yeah.
Actually, this is really going to date me, but I don't remember playing with either. Maybe the Super Nintendo. But I do remember playing with the Sega game console with Sonic, which will date me even more.
Yes, right. I do remember Sonic.
But that was my console that I remember growing up. But the results for that one, looks like Nintendo 64 won.
Yeah, I guess the Super Nintendo is before 64. I'm not sure. I just remember Nintendo 64.
Which of these movies would you rather watch on Christmas? Home Alone, Home Alone 2, The Santa Claus, The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. I don't remember Home Alone 2 as much. I'm automatically going with Home Alone, and I haven't watched a movie in like a long time. Actually, these other ones, I may have seen those other ones. I think I have, but I more so remember Home Alone, and I think I'm going to go with the first one.
This is a really hard choice. I'm between Home Alone and the Santa Claus, just because Santa Claus is it's a classic. But I can't not watch Home Alone whenever it comes on. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah.
See what people say. Yep, Home Alone at 47% won that one. Which discontinued drink would you bring back? Snapple Elements or Squeeze It?
I remember Squeeze. I totally forgot about that until I'm looking at it right now. I'm gonna go with Snapple because I like the taste of those drinks. I haven't had Snapple in a long time, but I like that better than Squeeze It. Even though Squeeze It was like a more fun packaging. But there's Snapple that they're showing. Like, I'm like, is that Snapple? Like, that looked different. That's not the Snapple. And I like the cool facts that they would have under their bottle caps. So I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, I've actually I was never like a Snapple person. So I'm gonna go with Squeeze It. So we're divided here. What are the results? Squeeze It won at 64%.
I'm not surprised. Their packaging is more fun.
Well, it's because Snapple makes you think. We just want to drink responsibly.
Right. Throw that out there.
Which discounted snack would you bring back? PB Crisp, Doritos. Oh, wow. Doritos 3D.
Oh, my goodness.
What is it?
I think I remember. Oh, wait. No, that's not what I think it is. Never mind.
Pizzaria's Pizza Chips. Ooh, Dunkaroos.
It's already Dunkaroos.
Yeah, it's Dunkaroos.
That's
That's it. Oh, yep.
There you have it.
51% Dunkaroos.
Yep. It is what it is.
Which cereal would you want to have a big bowl of? Oreos or French Toast Crunch? Is that correct? I thought it was Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
They do have a Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, it's the actual toast. Mm-hmm. French toast. Okay.
Now I don't know when they start. I didn't know if they started like the Oreo ones in the 90s. Now what I was gonna say really is that I actually don't like Oreo cookies like the regular Oreo.
What?
No, I don't. The chocolate, like the dark. I like. Now this is funny. I like real dark chocolate, like the bitter tasting kind. I've developed my taste. I like that, but I don't like the cookie part of the Oreos. Now Danielle, she done upgraded me and introduced me to the thin Oreo cookies. I could deal with those because it's less cookie. Now here's the weird thing. I love the Oreos cereal. I will eat that. I will choose that.
It's okay, folks. We'll get her help. But yes, and for those that love Oreos, I recently found out about a new snack or something to add to your Oreo taste, which is dipping it in peanut butter. But only if you're a fan of peanut butter and not allergic. So please do not try at home if you are allergic.
Okay.
But peanut butter and Oreos, you're welcome.
And that was another thing I remember in elementary school. So many kids were allergic to peanuts. I don't know what that was about, but
I remember that too.
Yeah.
Like there was a huge surge of peanut allergy going around.
Look at that. Oreos wins. Like, I don't know what it is about the cereal, but I'll take that over the actual cookie.
It's close though. 54%.
Yeah, it is close.
And French toast at 46%.
Yeah, I would have thought people would have said French toast more. I feel like I remember that more from childhood.
Oh my god! I'm sorry. I just peeked at the next question.
Oh.
Which now defunct retailer would you want to see come back? Warner Brothers Studio Store? No. DZ Discovery Zone, Blockbuster Video, oof, or KB Toys?
It's a hard choice for me between Discovery. I had a birthday party at Discovery Zone. Do you understand?
Discovery Zone was the spot.
Okay. They had the pits of like the colorful. I don't know what they call like the colorful like little
plastic balls.
Yes. Okay.
Swimming in balls.
As a child, thinking as a child, that pit was so much fun. Blockbuster, of course, was big because you can rent all sorts of movies that you like. I'm gonna go with Discovery Zone. I was a kid, in the 90s, and Discovery Zone was where it was at.
Yes, all the best memories of the 90s was at Discovery Zone. I remember going there for every other birthday party. like racing each other through the different what do you call it, like slides and whatnot that you're going up and down. It was just so much fun, and just climbing on everything and not getting hurt, or unless you're like really like trying to get hurt. But
right.
It was just a lot of fun. Now Blockbuster, that's kind of what breaks it for me. I don't like, it's hard choice because Blockbuster was everyone's Friday night go-to thing to do. You would find out about the new movie coming out and rush to the store to get that movie. And I hate it when like you're approaching the shelf and you see the plastic box of the movie. You think, oh, it's right behind the plastic, and you move it and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So you know that it's sold out. So I just remember rushing to the store to try and get the new movie. But now we sit on our couches.
Yes.
And wait for the series to come on one of the streaming apps.
Right.
Which is not as fun.
Times have very much changed.
Oh.
Okay. Blockbuster won out. And I'm not surprised because Blockbuster, was... Because we didn't have anything else like it. Like, if you weren't going to the movies and you wanted to see, one of the recent movies that came out, you're going to go to Blockbuster. You couldn't... There was none of these live streaming services that we have now.
Which toy fad would you want to see make a huge comeback? Tamagotchi?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Beanie Babies, Pogs, Polly Pocket.
Yeah. Now, I don't remember Pogs, but all the rest of them I remember. Yeah, those were a big deal at McDonald's, too. The Beanie Babies, yeah. What would I like to... If I were to actually use any of them, and it wouldn't be no long-term thing, child, I'm in my 30s, okay? Well, actually, I forgot. I'm thinking that's Gigapet. What is Tamagotchi? I forgot that one.
Yeah, I never had a Tamagotchi, or however you say it.
I don't remember that one.
I had a Gigapet.
Yeah. Well, shoot. Then between those, I guess I'm gonna go with the Beanie Babies because I guess I collect them and sell them for a lot of money or something.
I remember seeing people with Polly Pockets.
Yes.
But my middle sister loved Beanie Babies. She had probably like a closet full of Beanie Babies. So I know that was a hot ticket for most children.
Yes.
Oh no. Looks like the Tamagotchi won that one.
Yeah, I don't remember that one as much.
Me neither.
I don't know if it's similar to Gigapets, but yeah.
Which magazine would you rather go through back issues of?
Oh, they had
What? Nickelodeon had a magazine?
I did not know that.
Disney Adventures had a magazine? Or Disney had a magazine?
I guess I feel like I'm gonna go with Nickelodeon because I watched a lot of shows, on that network growing up. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Nickelodeon.
I'll go with Nickelodeon. Yep, Nickelodeon won.
Yep. It was pretty close though with Disney.
Which classic sitcom would you want to see a reboot of? The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Friends, Saved by the Bell, or Sister Sister? How about Zero?
Right. I will agree with Danny, because they have done a reboot of Fresh Prince, as some of you may already know, and they've made it, a drama instead of like a comedy with drama elements. And as far as the ones that I'm most interested in, it is between The Fresh Prince and Sister Sister. I'd probably even more so go with The Fresh Prince because I watched both episodes a lot, or both TV shows a lot, but The Fresh Prince just had a lot of comedy that I loved. So I guess if I had to, I would choose that one. Not how they've made it a drama now, not in that way. But I do agree, I do wish that's something that these production companies would stop doing so much of, is trying to remake classics. Make new classics.
Yeah. Think of new material. That's why you're Hollywood.
Okay, you got all this money. I'm just saying.
If I was forced to reboot one of these, I had to agree with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but it's not going to be the same anyway, as we've been discussing, because Uncle Phil passed away. Yes. So that actor, who I cannot think of his real name, I apologize.
I know, I can't remember.
But it wouldn't be the same without him anyway.
Yeah.
But
very true.
Let's see what the results say. Of course, not surprised, but Friends won at 38%, but Fresh Prince is right behind them at 32%. Next question, and I believe the last question. Which group would you rather see reunite? NSYNC, and Spice Girls. I mean, is this even really a question?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I like Spice Girls, and they were like, great performers too. But I'm gonna go with NSYNC.
Well, actually, I remember hearing rumors, or maybe it's not really a rumor, but I think Spice Girls already started a reunion tour.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But Posh was not. She was not involved with it.
Of course,
because she's posh.
Okay, and she is married. She's in a high-profile celebrity relationship or marriage for many years. So
yes,
good for her.
Yes, we love you, Posh. But definitely NSYNC. I mean, I think we've all been, I don't know, like yelling at Justin, sending tweets, sending what we can to get the attention of NSYNC to get together and finally get together for a reunion tour. NSYNC was one of my favorite boy bands growing up, and we all just want you guys to do a reunion tour. Like, come to Atlanta, Georgia, because that's where we're located, or maybe somewhere in North America that I can come to. But it would be the highlight of every 90s kid, life to go to an NSYNC reunion tour as an adult.
So just putting that out there. Oh, really? People chose Spice Girls at 59%.
Huh.
I would not have. Now, mind you, Spice Girls, because I never saw them, like, I don't recall live performances from them as much as I do remember, like, seeing with NSYNC, growing up. Like on award shows or like, these music TV shows. But I do remember, of course, Spice World, and they did show like clips of them performing. And again, they're great performers. Like, they're, from what I remember of the movie, like their performances were very engaging. So, I didn't expect that, but I'm not totally surprised.
Yeah, we'll give it to you, Spice Girls. Like, you did have some good songs, so we'll give that to you. Well, that was the end of the This or That fun 90s question from BuzzFeed. I'll leave a link in the description if you'd like to take it yourself or like to give it to another friend to see what the results compared to their answer. But thank you so much for just being with us today and listening to our test episode, which I hope you enjoyed or got some type of bits and pieces from to make the best part of your day the best.
Yes.
So did you want to tell them about our upcoming official show?
Yes. So as we've discussed, we are going to officially launch our podcast in 2023. Yes, we're aiming for spring or summer 2023, and we have a very good lineup of episodes that we feel that people would really love and find relatable. About half of the episodes, we're planning to have guests on just to elaborate on topics, bring, like we said, thought-provoking, fun, inspiring perspectives. The first episode that we plan to do is Cancel Adulting.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Okay. Cancel Adulting.
Cancel it all.
Yes. And just talking about our adulthood journey, what that has actually been like for us, and the expectations that we face, that we're supposed to be doing, or that we're supposed to have, or who we're supposed to be as adults. That is just not a one-size-fits-all thing for us. So we are so looking forward to connecting with you all, and just really bringing content that you can take things away from to help you to be the best that you can be. This is why this is the Best We Can Be podcast, where we're all about growth and trying to live the best life that we can.
That's right, millennials out there. This is for you. We want to hear your voices. Support us. I know it's cliche, but subscribe, like, do all the good things for us to be able to build our content, share, and develop and progress with you. Yes. And just thank you so much for sticking with us and being with us. And we're the Best We Can Be podcast.
See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.